But I'll be on it always, always.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm starting YouTube, and honestly I'm like fucking terrified. Like, I've fucking tried to do this 85 billion times, and it's really crazy because I like practice, like not practice, but like I fake do YouTube in my head all the time and like talk to my phone in my like mirror when I'm like doing my makeup and stuff. So it's like really weird that I'm not even like in the zone. It's just something about like officially doing it that's a little bit nerve-wracking. But I hope my background is cute. Like, I just really didn't really know what to do for my background, so I just decided to showcase my Hello Kitty blankets because that's who I am. It's a very good accurate description or like representation of me. So I was like, why not just have this as my background? This is really just the real tea, the real me. So why not just have it as my background, right? So for my first video, I didn't want to do something like that people usually do on their first video, because nobody ever watches those fucking videos except like your family and friends. And even like my favorite YouTubers, I never go back and watch those videos. Like those videos, those about me videos, nobody watches those. And I'm gonna do like an introduction to my channel, kind of not like the typical way, just kind of like what I'm gonna be doing on this channel, what it's gonna give. But I'm not gonna do one of those first videos. My first video, I just want to pop it off with a story time and start telling out my business, because that's just what I want to be. That's what I want to do. So let's just get into it. So I was really debating on like what my first video should be. Like, I know I want to do a story time, but I was like what story is even gonna, you know? I keep starting and not telling y'all. Okay, so I'm gonna tell a story time of the time. If you're already here, you got this far, you've already read the title, you already know what the story is gonna be about. But I am going to talk about the time where I met a pimp and he tried to pimp me out, y'all. So I don't really tell anybody this story because I don't really be talking to people about my life for real, except myself in my head and my fake YouTube. So I'm like, why not just do it to my real YouTube? So I'm finally telling the story. I think I told like a little bit of the story to a couple people, but this is my first time really getting this off my chest. So let's get into it. So I did not get my license until I was 19 years old, the day before I turned 20. So, or not the day before I turned, the day before I turned 20, the week before I turned 20. So like, I got my license May 12th. My birthday is May 19th. So right before I turned 20, but I was still a teenager when I got my license. Okay, so I started the process. Nobody would teach me how to drive. Like my mom, she said she was too scared to teach me how to drive. I don't have a dad. Like I didn't really have anybody to teach me how to drive. Everybody who could possibly have taught me how to drive lived far away. So I just decided that I was gonna get driving lessons and I was gonna pay somebody to teach me how to drive, and you know, that's just how I was gonna have to do it. So I started, obviously I have to get my permit to drive someone's car, especially if it's like, if I'm doing it the legal way, like not legal, but like the professional way, through, because I decided to do it through a like an actual driving school. So they require you to have your permit already. So I don't know if I had already had my permit. No, I think I did this before I even signed up for the driving classes. But I did the little test, because I don't know if they still do this, but during COVID they would let you do your driving test, like the question portion, on like online. So I did it on my computer and I passed the test and everything, and it was just like, oh, like just go to the DMV and pick up your permit. But when I got there, they made me take the test again. I was so irritated. I was like, what so I don't know, I did something wrong, I think, and they made me pay again and everything. I did something wrong. I don't remember what I did wrong particularly. I think it's just that I didn't want to wait. I think that I had to wait for the system to show that I had taken the test and paid for it. No, I think it was that I paid for it. They didn't get the like confirmation that I paid for it, so they were like, you gotta do it again. So I just did it again because it was like, whatever. I'm already here at the DMV. Being at the DMV, we all know, takes days. Literally, they're there from the morning to the night, damn near. So I was like, I'm already here. And at the time I didn't have a car. My mom wasn't taking me, and nobody was taking me. I took an Uber there. Like, there's no taking an Uber again. Like, I'm here, you know. So I'm at the DMV. I take my test again. I pass the test, of course. And I think at this point I had already finished I had finished and everything. I was standing outside the DMV waiting for my Uber. So I'm waiting for my Uber. I'm just standing outside. This is at a time in my life where I was just very like, I don't know if I was insecure or like, I don't know, I was depressed. A lot of stuff was going on with me. But I just was like seeking attention. I don't know if I was single at this point. I don't really remember too much if I was even single or if I had a boyfriend, because I had a boyfriend most of my life. So I probably had a boyfriend. But I don't know. I don't recall. So I'm outside the DMV looking like a crackhead. I actually think I looked cute because I was expecting to take my picture that day. And I didn't. But I looked cute for, the time. And I was just standing outside, minding my business, looking nervous, probably sweating because it was hot, looking kind of crazy. And this boy comes up to me. He was really short. I remember, this is actually another thing. I have like receipts for this, but I don't want to post nobody's face on here. Like, I'm going to eventually make a membership where I start posting people's faces and being messy, because that's what I'm just messy as fuck. I don't really care. But I'm not gonna post his face because I don't know what that man got going, where he's at, what he's doing, or what he will do to me. So I'm not gonna post the receipts. I'm gonna post them. Maybe I'm just gonna block out his face. But yeah, this man, I'm just gonna describe him. He was ugly. He was ugly. He was not my type. He was really short. He had like starter dreads. I don't even know if they were starter dreads or just like twists. But he had like the beginning phase of dreads, like just not cute. He was like shorter than me. I don't know, maybe he was a little taller than me. Like, he wasn't butt ugly, but he was nobody's catch, So he comes up to me and he's like, oh, like, you're so beautiful. Like, what's your name? And I'm like, oh, I'm Lashea. Like, what's your name? I don't remember what he said his name was. I don't really care. I didn't care at the time. I was at the point where I was really, 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 really shy. Like, I'm still shy. I'm dropping stuff. I'm sorry. I was at the point where I was very, very shy. Like, now I'm really shy still. But back then, girl, I would like instantly start like profusely sweating when people came up to me. Like, I hated being outside, hated being in public, hated talking to strangers. I just was really shy, really anxious, especially like around like new people, like at the DMV. I don't know these fucking people. So yeah, he came to me and I really just wanted him to stop talking to me. Like, I was really just kind of like, stop talking to me. But he was like, you're so beautiful. Like, I see you look thick. Like your ass is fat. Whatever he was saying. He was like just yapping, He was like, you're cute, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, like, thank you. Like, that's so nice. Like, thanks. And he was like, do you have a boyfriend? And I don't remember what I told him. I probably told him no. I was like, no, I'm single. Probably was at the time. I don't really remember. But I was like, no, I'm single. Like, what about you? And he was just, we were just making small conversation with it. It really wasn't anything too crazy. Like, we were just talking, like nothing, just talking. So he was asking me really weird questions. Like, he was asking me like, do you like to party? Like, what do you do out here? You're so fine. I know you like to party. I know you be outside partying. And I was like, no, like, I really don't do any of that. Like, I'd be in the house. But I kind of was just like, no. I want him to stop talking to me. I cannot stress enough. I did not want to talk to this man. Like, I just want him to stop talking to me. So he was like, oh, can I get your number? Oh, no, before he even asked for my number, he's like, what are you doing here at the DMV? And I was like, oh, like, I'm just getting my permit. Like, just now learning how to drive, unfortunately, but I'm getting my permit, yada, 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 right? And I was like, so what are you doing here? And he was like, I'm here to buy a car. Mind you, we're at the DMV. And I was like, you're here to buy a car? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, you're here to get your license to buy a car? You're here to register your car? What are you doing? He's like, something like that. And I was automatically like, this is when I became irritated. I'm like, you don't have to hide what you're doing at the DMV, sir. Mind you, he had the same paper in his hand that I had in mine, which was like my permit, like the confirmation for my permit. So I was like, bitch, you just got your permit, but hey, okay, whatever. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's what's up. And he's like, oh, like, you drive? And I'm like, no, like, I just said I'm getting my permit. Like, I don't have a car, nothing. He's like, oh, okay, I understand. So he's like, oh, can I get your number? And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'll give him my number. He's like, okay, I'm gonna hit you. Like, what's your name again? I'm like, Lashea. And he was like, okay. So I'm standing there. He walked back inside. My Uber, I don't even remember. I think my Uber had canceled on me. And then I was waiting for my next Uber. And he came back outside. He's like, well, hey, I'm leaving. He kept calling me little mama. He's like, hey, little mama, like, I'm leaving. Like, don't forget to hit me. Da, da, da. I don't think he gave me his number. So I don't even know why he asked me to hit him. But he did. He was like, don't forget to hit me. You know, blah, blah. So that was just how that went. I got in my Uber and went home. Fast forward, I want to say by the time he ever reached out to me, I don't think I did not have a car. I didn't have a license, but I definitely had started my driving lessons already, and I was probably like 2 in. So it was like a month or 2 later, like maybe 3 months later, he had called me one day, and I was on the phone with my ex at this time. So this makes me think I probably did I have a boyfriend. I really don't remember. Like, y'all, my life is crazy when it comes to men. But I don't know if I had a boyfriend at the time or not. But I remember I was on the phone with my ex, and we were just talking, yapping, chopping it up, because this particular ex, and I'm gonna do a lot of stories on him. We're just best friends. Like, that's my bestie. We don't talk anymore, but always in my heart forever. You know, we weren't talking about anything crazy, and it wasn't giving relationship at all. He was just like a friend. But I do say he's my ex because he is my ex. But he's just that's like my homeboy. You know. So we were on the phone, and I was like, oh, somebody keep calling me. And this person, they kept blowing my phone up, like calling. And then texting me like, bitch, you don't see me calling you? And I was like, who the fuck is this? Like, it was like for like over the period of 3 hours calling me. And then when I looked at the messages, they had called me like a week before this and was talking crazy. So I don't know. I usually ignore stuff like this, but I was on the phone with my ex, and we was just yapping, and I don't know, he irritates me. We get in this like arguing mood. So I was in an arguing mood. Like, who the fuck is this? Who the fuck is this talking to me like this on my phone? Calling me from a fucking, I'm pretty sure they were calling me from a Apple ID, not a number. So I'm like, what the fuck? So then a number starts calling me, and the number is actually like calling, not stopping, like repeatedly calling. So I'm like, hold on, I'm finna answer the phone, right? So I answered the phone, and I was on FaceTime with my ex. I switched the call to my iPad, and then I answered the phone so he could still hear me, right? So I'm like, hello? Like, I answered the phone, I'm like, hello? And he's like, yeah, why the fuck you not answering the phone? And I'm like, who is this? Like, I don't know who this is. Like, why are you just calling this random number expecting an answer so bad? And he's like, you know who this is. And I'm like, no, I don't know who this is. Like, who is this? And I'm like, why are you playing on my phone, you know? And he was like, oh, but he was calling me a bitch consistently. Like, I don't really remember what he was saying in the beginning of the call, but he just kept saying bitch, right? And I'm like, what the fuck is you? Like, why the fuck do you, like, who is this? At this time, I had a lot of beef. I still kind of be getting random calls from random bitches who have beef a little bit with me from, like, shit that happened when I was, like, 16. But I was like, who is this? Like, whose man is calling me right now? Mad for something, right? So I'm like, I answer the phone, and I'm like, you know, like, what the fuck do you want? Like, why the fuck are you calling me? Why the fuck do you keep calling me? Why the fuck are you blowing my phone? Like I said, I was on the phone with my ex, so I was already in that, like, mode of, like, talking shit, y'all. So I'm like, I'm on 10. I'm like, why are you calling my phone? Like, don't call my phone. Don't blow up my phone. Like, I'm gonna block you. Like, what the fuck? And he just kept like, bitch, you're not gonna block me. Bitch, you know who this is. And I'm like, I don't know who this is. Like, FaceTime me. Like, I want to see who this is. She's like, okay, like, let me FaceTime you. So he FaceTimed me. And the FaceTime with my ex hung up because he was on FaceTime. So I'm on the phone with him. And the whole time I'm trying to change my FaceTime on my iPad to, like, my Apple ID so that I could be on FaceTime with my number on my phone and my Apple ID on my iPad so my ex could see this, right? Because we're just messy. Like, I don't know. So he does FaceTime me eventually, and I see that it's the guy from the DMV. So I'm like, why are you talking to me crazy? Like, how the fuck? I never had your number. Like, how was I supposed to know this is you? Like, and why are you getting at me crazy? Like we've talked. Like, I know you. Like, what is going on? He's like, my bad. Like, suddenly he get real calm. He like, my bad. Like, you look so beautiful today. Da da da. And I'm like, thank you, like, but like, don't do the most, like, don't play on my phone. I don't like that. Like, don't, that's not cute. And he was like, no, like, I apologize, right? So I'm like, okay, whatever, like. So he was like, do you remember me? And I'm like, yeah, of course I remember you. Like, your face, that fugly face is not forgettable. Like, I remember who you are. You look familiar to me, right? So he was like, you know, like, he was like, I'm sorry I haven't hit you. I really forgot that you gave me your number. I got so much going on. I've been working. I've been making money moves. Like, I haven't gotten to calling you. And I'm like, okay, it's been 3 months. Like, I really don't give a fuck. You don't have to make an excuse to me. I didn't want to talk to you then. I don't want to talk to you now. Like, whatever. And I'm like, the whole money moves was making me mad. Like, I'm like, but like, I don't care what you were doing. Like, actually, you don't have to explain anything to me, actually. So he was like, he was like, why you didn't find a way to contact me? And I was like, find a way to, like, I was like, find a way to contact you. Like, why, what, why, huh? Like, what are we even talking about right now? Like, I'm not gonna, who are you? So he was like, the conversation was just like, kind of like settling. Like, it wasn't too crazy, but it was just like, he was still talking crazy. He kept calling me a bitch. So I'm like, why the fuck do you keep calling me a bitch? Like, who the fuck are you talking to? Like, that's when I started getting rowdy again, because it's just like, why have I been on the phone with this man for 10 minutes letting him call me a bitch? Like, whoa. I snapped back into reality. So I'm like, why do you keep calling me a bitch? And he was like, that's just what I call bitches, you know? But these, you know, he was like, these females, these days, they bitches. They all just bitches to me. So I'm like, what? I'm like, so if that's how you feel, like, why the fuck are you on my phone right now if I'm just a bitch to you? Like, what are we talking about? So he was like, because I want to ask you a question. And I'm like, okay, ask the question. So he was like, is your Instagram blank? And I don't remember what my Instagram was at the time. It was probably just my first and middle name. And I was like, yeah, like, that's my Instagram. And he was like, one of my bitches know you. And I'm like, okay, like, cool, good for y'all. Like, what? So that's what made you remember to fucking call me? Like, I don't know. And he was like, yeah, one of my bitches know you, and she said that you about your money. So I'm like, who? Like, who are you talking about? He's like, I couldn't even tell you all that. But he was like telling me stuff about me, like, you went to this school and blah blah. And I'm like, oh, somebody really, you know, telling my business. Like, whoa. So he was like, I heard, he kept saying, like, I heard you about your money. Like, they telling me that you brought your money. And I'm like, I'm not about my money. I work at Amazon at this point, and I'm like very much not about my money. I call off at every given chance. Like, what are we talking about? Like, I'm not about my money. Like, what are we talking about? And I wasn't doing nothing, like, no scamming or nothing anymore at this point. That's why I was kind of like, who told you that? Because in high school, I dabbled a bit into scamming. So I was like, about my money, because people from high school and stuff would, like, hit me up about bank scams, like everybody does. Like, I'm not doing no bank scams, so ask somebody else, get somebody else to do it for real. So he like, I've heard you about your money. So I'm like, buy my money how? Like, what are you talking about? So he's like, I heard you about your money. Like, anyway, so he's like, I heard you about your money. Like, I heard you one of them ones. So I'm like, who's telling you this? Like, what are you talking about? So he's like, I want you to work for me. And I'm like, work for you? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean work for you? He like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? You about it. You know what I'm talking about. And he was using this, like, slang that I have no idea. Like, I don't even remember it. But, like, I was just like, what are you talking about, sir? Like, I don't know nothing about that, actually. And he was saying he was saying 3 or 4 slangs. And I didn't know. I'm like, what? Like, excuse me, is this English? I don't know what you're talking about. Like, huh? And he kept saying little stuff like, and I'm like, I'm not about that, about my money. So I'm like, he said something. I don't really remember what it was. that he said that like made it click in my head. But my ex, mind you, was on the phone the whole time, but I had muted him. So when I see him, he's laughing, like he's dying laughing. And I'm like, are you a pimp? Because I don't remember what he said. I really wish I could remember, but he said something that I was like, what? And I'm like, are you a pimp? And he's like, man, yeah, I'm a pimp. Yeah, I'm a pimp. And I immediately just, like, it was just, the whole situation was comedic to me. You see me at the DMV in sweats and a shirt and some Uggs, and you thought you were gonna pimp me out? Oh, wow. Mind you, I live in the IE, and I was in Hemet at this time. I was at the Hemet DMV. So, I understand why he thought, honestly, because the Hemet girls are wild. And I think a lot of the girls I know that live in Hemet are 304s. So, but it's just like, you saw me at the DMV looking very normal and thought you were gonna pimp me. So we just start getting into it. I'm like, bitch, I'm not, you think I'm a fucking sell real? Like, what? Like, what? So I'm going off and like, bitch, fuck, you're not a pimp. Who? I'm just going off and I'm attacking his. I'm like, you little bitty ass boy, like, who are you pimping? Like, who's selling pussy for you? Like, that's lame. Oh, look, you're so lame. Like, we just going out. He calling me all the bitches in the universe, y'all. He's cussing me out, and I kept like hanging up. He kept calling me back. I'm like, you dusty ass bitch. Like, you. That's why you're wearing the same outfit that you was wearing at the DMV that day. And he was. It wasn't exactly the same outfit, I don't think, but it was like random shirt and pants. Like, that's why I'm the same ass dusty ass outfit that you had on at the DMV. Like, you're not fly. You don't get money. If you do have girls selling for you, they're not making no money. Like, ew. Like, I'm just going off on him. He going off on me. I keep hanging up because I'm like, fuck. So he called me like, my bitch told me you was down. She told me you was down, bitch. I'm like, who the fuck is your bitch? Who is your bitch? Fuck you and that bitch. So I'm just going off on him like, which one of my old friends is telling their pimps that I'm going to, what, me? This, me? What? I'm like, who? And he did not say her name. But he was like, you follow her on Instagram, you be liking her pictures, you know she a hoe, 304. And I'm like, who? So I'm thinking like, who do I know that I like their pictures that is a 304? And I'm thinking, I was like, she don't need a name. I guess we're gonna give her a name, even though I don't have no more stories. This lame pussy selling ass bitch. But what are we gonna call her? We're gonna call her Star. Let's just call her Star. So I'm like, are you talking about Star? And he was like, yeah, see, I knew you knew. I'm like, Star? I don't even fuck with that girl. Like, I haven't fucked that girl since middle school. Like, what are we talking about? Fuck you and that bitch. So I'm going off on him. I hang up. I block his number. I hang up on my ex. I was so mad. I literally hung up on my ex. I'm like, everybody shut up for a second. I go on Instagram and I posted a screenshot of me on FaceTime with him, and I was like, is who you selling pussy for? Messy. I don't give a fuck, cause like, what? You told him she said, okay, so let me just say, so I posted it, and I posted it on my close friends, and I posted like a screen recording of him like cussing me out on Instagram. I'm like, that's who you sell pussy for, right? And she stood up on a post and was like, ha 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 ha. She said, ha ha. She was like, ha 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 ha. He really bought it though. And I was like, you're such a lame, grimy, stinky hoe. Like, ew. Like, you so pussy. Like, I didn't know you so pussy. And I was like, why would you tell him that I'm down? And she was like, well, you gave him your number. I thought you were down. Like, I haven't seen you since middle school. I don't know what she's like, I don't know what you're getting into. I just thought you might be down. Bitch. I was so mad. I was cussing this girl. I was like, you funky. And we still following each other on Instagram to this day, y'all. It's actually crazy. I was like, you funky ass bitch. Like, you did not think I was selling my pussy for nobody. You didn't. You're out of your mind. And it was a little bit of like drama. Like, we was all arguing on Instagram for like 3 days. But that was really just that it. Like, it was really just it. Like, nothing more really happened after that. It was just like baffling. Like, I was really scared to go outside because he was like saying all kinds of stuff. Like, he was gonna come beat my ass and all this other shit. Like, you don't know where I live, bitch. He was like, you live by the him and DMV. And I was like, no, I don't. But I really did it. So he wasn't finding me. But I never had any interaction with him again. And the girl, she literally like one day just randomly stood up on my story and was like, you're so beautiful. She's like, you're so beautiful, you should try it. And I didn't even open that shit because try what? Try what? Try what? It's really crazy the stuff that goes on in the city that I didn't live in the city. I did at one point, but during the story I did not. But it's like a neighboring city from where I lived. But so much, like, it's really so sad. It was really just sad to me also to find out that she sold and she was a 3 or 4, because I don't know, like, I went to middle school with her. Like, we was just little kids in middle school starting drama and PE, like, and now you're doing this. Like, that's so sad. Really, it was really sad for me to see that she did that, because I was liking her pictures and they were very sexually suggestive, but I thought she was a stripper because some of them were stripper outfits. But I was like, even that is like she's not a stripper. Never in my life did I think that it was what it was. Never. It was actually like freaking terrifying to come to this conclusion. But that's all for this video. I hope you like this video. I hope that you stay on my page and you subscribe and lock in with me, because it's only gonna get better from here. I'm a little congested. Like, I was not congested when I started, but I'm gonna go with my nose. And you subscribe, stay tuned, because it's so much stuff that I want to put on this channel, and so much, like, so many stories I want to tell. The evolution is going to be crazy, so stay tuned. If you do subscribe, if you do like this video, and if you did watch all the way to the end, I really do appreciate you, and I love you literally just for being here, because that is actually crazy of you to be watching this random girl on YouTube, yeah, for no reason. I really love you and I really appreciate it, and I hope you stay tuned for more. Bye.